Hey, welcome to this episode of What's Brian Up To? Well, today I'm back over at my parents' house. I'm gonna help my dad work on his trike. This is a 95 GL1500 Honda Goldwing trike. And today we're gonna work on replacing the front tire. So currently the tire on here, it's getting a little worn down there and it's pretty old. All right, so we've got the bike jacked up on this motorcycle jack, a few inches off the ground here. All right, first step is to take this cover off. And it just pops off, has a little knob that goes into that rubber grommet there. So after taking that cover off there, it looks like maybe the previous owner took the bracket off that holds this on there. We're gonna take this bolt off here eventually, and then right down below here are two bolts we're gonna take off, 8mm. There's that little washer. Oh, there's that little washer right there.
This one happens to be missing.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. All right. So the ringer fire should just come off there. Be careful, it is attached still with a wire. We want to go ahead and take the same ones off of the other side, keeping the bolts and nuts and screws separated on a table or on the floor, making sure to keep the left ones on the left, right ones on the right. Next, we'll go ahead and take off this bracket that holds that ring of fire on. Same on the left side. Remember, when we're taking the bracket off this side, I got to be careful of the speedometer cable. All right, next we're going to take the calipers off. The bottom Allen screw is the number 4, and then this upper one here that we're going to take off is the number 6.
We're just going to loosen this one up first for
Again, the same thing on the left side. Okay, next step is to take this axle out, and you're going to use a 22mm socket on this axle bolt here. This one in particular was torqued on way more than it should have. We just used a breaker bar, this breaker bar, and about 6 minutes of really wrenching on it. Finally got it off of there. And then now we can use the 22mm socket to get that out of there. They Loctite it. Loctite it on. On this side, this is the axle, and we had to use a screwdriver through these holes here in the axle in order, because once we got it slightly loose, then this was just spinning. So then you were able to stick a screwdriver through there to hold it. Right. Just like that, we're able to get that tire out of there. On this side, maybe.
There's some spacers too that we gotta
Be careful of.
Yeah, and the speedometer cable.
Okay.
Let her down.
Yep, spacer's still in there.
Yep, there's a spacer. Take this off. There, that slides out. The caliper does out of the hole. Take the bracket on. Set it there.
Now the wheel just slides right out.
when we put that back together, see the little notches here? That's what runs the speedometer cable. So the notches
match up with the notches on the speedometer cable.
So that they're going against it.
That.
Yep.
There's a good close-up of those. All right, next we'll go ahead and remove that valve stem. So while you have this apart, you might as well take a peek at your brake pads. And we're looking at these ones right here. If you can tilt that up so we can see it in the light. And these are pretty worn down, almost to nothing. These are gonna need to be replaced. Okay, yeah, these ones need to be replaced as well. They're pretty far down there.
You see how far out the calipers are pushed?
New brake pads in your future. In comparison, when you look at the manual, you can see the thickness of the pad here. And you can see that the caliper's not out too much. Sounds like a future video. And also while you have this out, you want to go ahead and check your bearings, and you can do this by sticking the axle back in and wiggling it back and forth. And you're trying to find some play in it, up and down, side to side. And this one actually looks pretty good. All right, so I don't know if this is the right method, but we're gonna try it. We've got this wheel up in the vise. All right, we've added a second block underneath there. Now we're just trying to break this bead. Oh, we're off back here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but we are off the bead back here. Here's a good example of why we're replacing the tire. Move your arm, shadow there. Is this crack right here. Tire's cracked.
That's also an 08.
An 08, which is right here. 5208, 52nd week of 2008.
Okay.
We got these zip ties this morning from Tractor Supply. They are the 21-inch long ones. We learned this method from Mo's Motorcycle Journey, so we thought we'd give it a shot. So shout out to Mo. We're using a clamp here to squish the tire to try and make it easier to get the zip tie on. ready to come off of there. Right now we're spraying it down with some soapy water. Add some lubrication to try and get it past that wheel.
Okay, one. Is that in the bead?
Down in the center there. Looks to be down in the center of the wheel, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, got it.
Yep. Nice. Beautiful. There we go. 1, 2, 3, off. Should be off of there. Beautiful. So we got a little steel wool and some soapy water, and we're just cleaning off that bead right now. Since it's apart, we might as well clean it up, right? And while it's off, go ahead, clean up the rim. Get that thing shiny. Do not use the steel wool. Use a non-abrasive rubber or cloth.
My wife makes these for me.
Look at that, huh? That's way better. Okay, valve stem time. Take off that little black plastic piece there.
And it sets right on, it locks in onto that.
Okay.
Okay, and then this valve stem, this stuff is old, so it's rotted, so just broke off.
Let's see that right there.
Just rotted, the rubber's so rotted.
Yikes.
Let me get
Flashlight. Oh, there we go.
Okay, there we go.
Hold right out. Some needle nose.
Alright, so we got a new valve stem. This is a metal one, so this one supposedly won't break as easy. It's clean. Alright. Okay. Goes in there like that. Like that. That's it.
Okay, beautiful. pinch it.
That will take little bites out of it. There we go. Now she's good. Let's go.
Okay.
Squeeze clamps, good for something.
Squeeze clamp. All right, tire's on. Let's go ahead and try and get some air in it. See if it'll. How much air pressure's in there?
80.
Oh! Oh!
She's going now.
There it is!
Give her time.
Right now we're just checking to see if there's any leaks. Seems to be holding air, but might as well check before we put it on. Right now we're setting in this homemade wheel stand, trying to see, at least get it close to the ballpark of weighted correctly if needed. Right now we're adding a little bit of grease to the axle and inside the wheel here. Thinking that maybe might just not have enough grease on there. Taking the weights off right now.
Off the old tire wheel.
Let's see what she'll do now. All right, we got to start putting the tire back together, putting the tire back on the bike. So we got to start by putting this spacer in on the right side. Okay.
And the wheel's marked too on the rotor for right as well. And you can't get it mixed up because you got the speedometer one that's got to go in on the
left side. Yeah. I want to make sure we're lining up those tabs correctly. So now we're installing the axle bolt again 22 millimeter. And per the Haynes service manual for this bike, this gets torqued to 65 foot-pounds.
Yep.
Yep. Right there. There we go. Beautiful. And again, I used the screwdriver method on this side to help hold that axle in place while we tightened it. So get the caliper on the bracket. Don't damage it. There we go. So we just compressed the caliper a little bit to give a little bit more space in order to get that up and over the rotor. over to the left side. Next, we want to put on the brackets for the ring of fire. Other side. And remember, on this side, you want to hook that speedometer cable.
There it goes. That's good. Get it up about 7 miles an hour.
Ah, good. So this is where, if you had the brackets, you would install these brackets here.
Right.
But we do not.
Yeah, somebody threw them away or something.
And next is putting the ring of fire back together.
Yeah, over here like that. Stick. Okay. Just like that. This one went here.
Okay.
Now we gotta find.
We found a screw that can fit this one. And it goes in with a Phillips.
You can put a socket on it too. I don't think so.
And the last step is to install the cover.
Has to hook in like that. Alright. Pushes in like that.
It's clips up front, right here and here. All right, here it is with the ring of fire lights on. All back together. Brand new tire on there. One thing we need to talk about is the tire that we put on there was actually a rear tire. Did some research, and I'm gonna include a link to the video, one of the videos we watched. It explained it very well about how the tire is built, and on the rear, it goes in a forward direction, which is how the steel belts are built for the rear for acceleration. So then you turn it around in reverse. So then it is built more for stopping rather than acceleration. On a trike, the front tire ends up wearing out faster than on a motorcycle. And so when you use a rear tire, it adds another 5,000 to 10,000 miles to the tire life. So we thought we'd give it a shot. We were a little nervous about the size that went on, if there was clearance, but due to some blogs and stuff that we've read, the tire was to fit, and it does fit. There's not a ton of clearance, but it does fit. And then they also compare the tread pattern, how it disperses the water. For example, what they were showing is this is directional. This is the old tire, and it goes from the center forward and down like that. Exactly how it is happening here, center and forward and down. And it looks great on there. So the tire we put on there is a Bridgestone Battle BT46. It's a 130/70/18 tubeless tire. This has been a fun project. I always enjoy hanging out with my dad, working on his motorcycle or whatever project he has going on. So I'm happy to bring you guys along. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and yeah, thank you. We'll see you next time.